Welcome to another episode of Healing Through Love. Each week, we share ideas, experiences, and resources to increase the awareness of domestic and family violence and to empower survivors to grow and thrive. We talk with experts who share their advice, or with people who have experienced abuse, no matter where they are on their journey. This is all about healing through love. And now, here are your hosts, Sharlene Lynch and Rose Davidson.
The Healing Through Love podcast with Sharlene Lynch and Rose Davidson. Melissa Finley in episode 52 explores the vital role authenticity plays in finding love and building fulfilling connections.
You are amazing for loving that, and that's what you should get loved for. So one's just like step one is just baby steps. First, you learn yourself, because you have to know yourself. You have to know your values, goals, and desires. By journaling that out, however you need to do that, and then you take that to the table. You know what? I really want this in my life. I want a family of 5. If you don't, it's okay. And it's okay. But I want somebody who's going to be, instead of like, oh, yeah, I guess if you just like don't really want to, maybe I can wrap my head around that. Because that's what we do, is we end up compromising our own needs and our own wants in life when we don't stand for what, or know what we want to stand for. As I said, we think we know ourselves, but then we like shift to please and make other people happy because we want them to be happy too. I mean, that is part of a giving, loving human being, is we want the other person to be happy also, but we have to remember, if we're not happy in this, nobody's also going to be happy in this.
The Healing Through Love podcast with Sharlene Lynch and Rose Davidson. The Healing Through Love podcast with host Sharlene Lynch and Rose Davidson would love to acknowledge Global Glamping Charities Incorporated for generously supporting this podcast. Global Glamping Charities, solving homelessness in all of its forms. Reach out to them at globalglamping.org. Hello and welcome to the Healing Through Love podcast. I'm your host, Rose Davidson from rosedavidson.com. Healing Through Love is here to help victims, survivors of domestic and family violence find their way back into living a more fulfilling and meaningful life. We interview experts and survivors who share their personal stories and offer advice to those who have experienced abuse, no matter where they are on their journey. As well as the Healing Through Love podcast, we hold annual Pamper Days in Adelaide, South Australia for survivors of domestic and family violence. This is where local businesses come together and pay it forward by providing their services and resources for the day to give our survivors a much-deserved day of indulgence. We are always looking for organisations or people with similar values, so please get in touch if you want your organisation to be seen and to be heard. And we are going global, so if you would like to reach out to one of our hosts, then we'll be in touch with you. You can reach us on our email at hello@htlaustralia.org. And that's HTLAUSTRALIA.org. And we'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have. We're looking for people who are organisers and exhibitors or store holders to participate in our Pamper Day events on a global scale. So today my guest is Melissa Finley, and Melissa's going to be talking to us about the power of authenticity and how we can unleash our true selves for lasting love. Welcome, Melissa, and thank you so much for joining me.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Rose, for having me here today. This is a pleasure, and I'm excited to talk about this.
So tell me, how did you get into doing what you're doing? So how did you, find out that you could help people to find lasting love?
It's kind of a little bit of a story. I actually was a ICU nurse for over a decade, and I have been through my own unfortunate domestic violence story, and then I found my love. I did some inner work, some mind shift. Like I got out and I did the things that I needed to do. And now I have the love of my life, the most amazing man that I could have for me. And I really want to help other people find that, because it is out there. We don't have to be in the story that we were in.
Yeah, it's very true. There are ways we can get out of it, but we have to love ourselves first, though. Is that the way it works? So we need to learn to embrace our true selves.
Absolutely. And that's where, like, I think, like, within being your authentic self comes into that play, right? If you know your true self, your authentic self, you can bring and attract those people, and you can have that firm, like, love with you. Like, you're like, yeah, I want to be me, and I want to be loved for me. And that is how you embrace it yourself first. Learn who you are. One, I feel like that's important. I think sometimes people even like, who am I? And so doing that, like, reflective thinking and going over, like, who I am is so important to say, this is who I am, and attract that type of a partner for sure.
Yeah. So how do you go about, becoming, finding your authentic self? And we all think that we're authentic. We all think that we're true to ourselves, but, some of us are living a lie, really, aren't we?
Yes. I think one is definitely, I love with, like, my work with my clients, I do a self-reflective exercise where you go through a list of values. Like, there's like a bunch of, like, different ways you can find, like, a list of values, and go through and hone in on what you feel resonates with you the best. And then you look at that, and then you get, like, your top 5, and then you're like, okay. And then I just, like, with that, you build on your desires and you build on your goals of life, and they just build on each other that way. And that's when you start seeing, like, oh, this is what I really want. This is what makes me excited. It makes me just, like, want to conquer the world with these values. Like, family is super important, or adventure is super important. And you just realize how much it is and how much it flows in with your desires and your goals. And then when you meet people, if you're showing that this is what I really want, they see that. And that's what I think, that's just, like, so great. But that's, like, one of the, like, big steps of finding yourself first. It's just like sitting down and thinking of and looking at values and what you really want to do.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of times we don't live true to our values. We tend to get sidetracked and, live how other people think we should be living, and not living for ourselves and doing what we want to do. Because let's face it, we're brought up as females to be people pleasers, and we tend to go through life doing that, and it is quite a harmful behavior in the end. I mean, it harms the person personally, because they become frustrated, become angry, and can cause all sorts of issues. So how can we go about to fix those things?
We go about fixing those things. So when you go down into figuring out, you get support group too, right? Support is super important. You need to have your tribe, your people that are helping you through this also. And I think that is a huge contributor of not just flyers. You need to, like, find yourself, do the things, and then you have your tribe. They're going to help you go through each step. So if you need a little extra, right? We all do. We all need some extra love and help. And if we have our people, they'll more than willing to support and cheer you on and get you moving forward. And there's different ways of support always, right? There's always organizations, friends. There's a different way, coaching, any of those things that can help you move forward. And there's actually so much support out there, which I just
there is actually, and it's just knowing where you need to go. But and having that outside support is always really helpful, and but make sure that it's a safe environment, so that you're not when you are finding yourself being very vulnerable, you haven't got people going and either dismissing your feelings, or going and gossiping about them behind you. It's not a great outcome. And so through education and resources and personalized support, How can we become more empowered to make more informed choices about our romantic lives?
So become more empowered by just actually, as you said, you like the safe and places that you do, and it's step by step, right? It's baby steps. You got to start, like, let's just, if it's in your house, in front of the mirror, just like start there, love yourself, make that baby step, and then start with your circle. And they just really are small steps for empowering yourself. Like, you don't have to just be like, okay, today this is me, I need to go face the world with it. Because that will, as you said, like, people could be talking, you want to make sure you're in that safe bubble and move forward with it, and make sure, like, yes, embrace that in the small setting before you go into the bigger setting. I love some mirror talk. It's one of the hardest things to do, is to go to that mirror and talk to yourself kindly and lovingly and let yourself be. And then my
co-host Sharlene loves her mirror work, and she does it every single day. And she said that it is hard. I've tried it, and I found it really confronting. The first few times, it's you try to look yourself in the eye, and it's quite difficult.
Yeah, that conversation, especially those first couple times. Like, I have some clients that just like, okay, I can't do it. I'm like, it's okay. Let's just go ahead. I will be here, like, talk through. And then it's like easier and easier each time as it comes around. And then just like a little bit more love and glow that just ends up radiating out of you when you do that. It's a fabulous little tool that I love for clients.
So I guess, Melissa, we're looking for maybe some techniques or some strategies that we could use and follow that would bring about this great love of our life, because we're all searching for, whether it's same-sex or otherwise, relationships, romantic relationships. How do we find those strategies? What strategies would you suggest?
So the strategy that I have is like that number one is doing the values. And then when you go on a date, I know it can be hard to be, because we do have as those preset ways that we should be, right? We shouldn't enjoy this, or we should enjoy this. And we have, like, sometimes as people pleasers with women, pretend to like things that we don't. And we don't have that conversation of what we like. So it's just even starting with having conversations of what we really like. Because I feel like it's all those dating rules that we supposedly need to follow. Like, oh, don't call and don't text for 3 days and just be cool. And the thing is,
who
like,
made
you
up
end up
those
with
rules?
I don't know, but that is the most ridiculous rules that came out. I don't even know what to do with those. Oh my gosh, throw them out the window. That's what
I
needs to happen
too.
with those.
You're dating. There's no rules. There's no rules to dating, I don't think, except
no rules.
your own rules. You make them up as you go along. That's my thing. Sorry, I interrupted you, but yeah, I just thought you like these stupid rules.
I hate them because I followed them, and it's just like, what the heck? But then you end up like, oh, this other human that you're dating is like, oh, okay, so they're this type of person. And then if they're attracted to it and that's not your genuine self. So if you want to, like, reach out and text or say something, it starts with that stuff of just like having that conversation even on the date. Just be like, okay, I really like to read comic books, or I really love to go to art museums. And if that person doesn't, they're going to go, and then you're going to find that person that, like, yeah, I love to go to an art museum too. And it's just like that small step of conversation. Okay, I am who I am. Let's try a little piece. Even if it's just a little piece, and then you can just, like, keep growing on that. But just like, yeah, I love art. Oh, okay. Well, okay. I guess we need to move on to the next one, because then the next person's going to be like, oh my gosh, I love art too. So you don't have those conversations with people that just get you. And you're like, we click, and that's what you want in your mate, in your future partner. You want that person just like, oh yeah, that's super cool. You are amazing for loving that, and that's what you should get loved for. So so one's just like, step one is just baby steps. First, you learn yourself. because you have to know yourself. You have to know your values, goals, and desires. By journaling that out, however you need to do that, and then you take that to the table. You know what? I really want this in my life. I want a family of 5. If you don't, it's okay. And it's okay. But I want somebody who's going to be, instead of like, oh, yeah, I guess if you just like don't really want to, maybe I can wrap my head around that. Because that's what we do, is we end up compromising our own needs and our own wants in life when we don't stand for what, or know what we want to stand for. As I said, we think we know ourselves, but then we like shift to please and make other people happy because we want them to be happy too. I mean, that is part of a giving, loving human being, is we want the other person to be happy also, but we have to remember, if we're not happy in this, nobody's also going to be happy in this.
Yeah, it's very true. We need to find self-happiness, and we have to be happy with anything, any of the outcomes. And if we're not, we need to talk about them with the other person, because, you know, I mean, they may not like art, but they might make the sacrifice to go to the museum with you. But there are things that you need to discuss. I mean, not on the first date, but, you know, as the relationship progresses. But the first date really is I don't know, knowing if whether you're going to click or not. I know with my husband, we went on our first date, it was a disaster. But our second date, when he was fully present with me, was absolutely awesome, and we clicked really, really well. But because I loved the fact that he could tell jokes and make me laugh, because I wasn't in a very good place at the time, and had a lot of stress. And yes, the fact that he could make me laugh over like stupid jokes that weren't really funny, but you know, that to me was a building block to our relationship. So yeah.
I love that. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's just laughter. Isn't that just, I don't know, it's just something fun to feel. Great feeling to have that bubble of laughter and enjoyment with another human.
Yeah, no, it was good. And you know, we built our relationship, and we used to talk on the phone for like 2 or 3 hours, and it was just, you know, amazing, because I used to work away a lot. And yeah, so phone was the only thing we had. And then this is back in the 80s when we didn't have mobile phones. So, you know, or back in the 90s, I should say.
Did you have the phone on the wall?
Yeah, that was pretty much it. It was a phone on the wall. Yeah, it was back in the early 90s. And so it was a long time ago. But yeah, so communicating wasn't as easy. You could just pick up the mobile and just, you know, ring. Yeah, to wait till you got either to a phone box or to get to home before you could call. But yeah, that was it. But yeah,
I vaguely do remember those, like, rush home and be excited for that phone call.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that was yeah, such a long time ago. But it's not all that long ago, which is, you know, but it seems like centuries.
It's amazing how time can fly, especially when you're enjoying.
Oh yeah, but I mean, what did we ever do with that mobile phones? Honestly, I think crazy. And the internet. What a boring life we must have led.
Go back to the library with the Dewey system.
Yes, that's exactly right. Melissa, you know, finding a partner that you click with. I mean, you may not click straight away, but you know, but there is some hint or you know, something there. You know that you want to go back for a second or a third date. So, you know, what other things to, especially to stay safe, because I know a lot of people, you know, how do you weed out the wheat from the chaff, so to speak?
I feel like big thing is listening to your gut. Red flags, you know, like we have our gut, and I think we don't listen to it enough. Like if something just says, this person doesn't seem right for me, we need to listen to it. I feel like there's a lot of times we excuse things for people. You're like, oh, well, maybe it's this or maybe it's that. And sometimes we do have like, right, one. But I feel like that is like your biggest indicator. If your gut is like, this isn't where it should be, then you shouldn't go on. It's like, let's say like you have like a date who's rude to your, like stats or stuff like that does not resonate with you. Absolutely. And I think we forget that. I really do, listening to ourselves and our body. Our body senses energy, and that energy can be good or bad. And if we don't feel good about it, we shouldn't be trying to push that and making that work. And I feel like we like to do that. We're like, oh, let's just give them another chance. But I don't know about you. Like, I've been told that too. Like, oh, you should give people more chances. And I feel like we don't need to do that in the dating room if you're not clicking in that way. If you feel it is not for you, and that is okay, because some people can be a good person too. But if it just doesn't even feel right for you, that is okay.
Yeah,
it is.
Got to be careful of those signs, the people that love bomb and then, turn out to be, when you get into the relationship, they become absolutely opposite. And so how do we, I guess, look out for those signs that we're being love bombed and they're not really, is there some strategy that we could use to, find that out?
I feel like that one's a little bit harder, but I feel like if it feels too much, it probably is too much, as it is with any sense. Like, and that's what love bombing is, right? It's like all of a sudden, like within, for some people, it's like 3 days, I think I love you. You're like, well, that doesn't seem right? If it seems too much, it is too much. Again, that's that whole listening to yourself, because that's what they do. They like overhit it, they overkill it. And it's like, you get a gift on the second date, or, and you get like flowers and all the things that's just too much. And it's like, okay, this, any other way of your life, would you do that? Would you go to a job and bring 50 gifts for all the staff? It's like harder that way. So you just like, okay, this doesn't feel right. And that is a big sign. It is a big sign when they're too much in the front. Like if they're like, I love you, but as I said, like the third date or things like that, that should put up a, like, let's pump the brakes. I don't know if this is right.
Yeah, I agree. I think, being love bombed is all very nice, especially if you haven't been, in a loving or supportive relationship. However, don't jump into the first one that, decides that they're going to shower you with gifts. I would take that, and you're right. If it seems too much, walk away quickly, because you could be, put yourself into danger, and we don't want that. So, it's important.
And I love working with like hopeless romantics. So those gestures do seem wonderful, but there is a time and a place for that. And it is not in the first 2 weeks of your relationship of over gesturing. Yeah, maybe, again, like flowers on the 5th date, right? That wouldn't be too bad, or even the 4th date, but it's just so much verbal love, and it needs to feel right. And if it feels too much,
Yes, absolutely. Melissa, you've got the ultimate love story that you're offering to our viewers and listeners today. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Ultimate love story. So it's my 90-day program that I work one-on-one with women. And we literally just go through the whole setup of how to set yourself up to find the person. So like, as I mentioned, like the first step is like, it's like I put a foundation out for people, and then you just want to like learning your dating patterns. And if you need to like shift them. I just like love going over this, like red flags. I even have a list, and I'm one of them, of course, is your gut, but there's like, the list, because some of us need to kind of relearn some of these things, right? This isn't okay. This is that. And then with this, of course, and then another thing I do that like points out, like learning yourself with that, you get boundaries, you learn your boundaries and learn to work with your boundaries, which is so important too. And so working on boundaries, and then like effective communication, like, hey, that's another thing. I feel like sometimes when you're like shut down enough, like you don't learn to communicate that the way you feel you should. And so it's just learning how to work and communicate too. So all these little different steps, with, of course, like icebreakers, relaxation for a date. Who doesn't have dating nerves, right? Those first dates, nerves. So I go through all those steps just to help find that person that really fits, that's support and accountable every step of the way.
And where can people get access to this program, Melissa?
It will be up in a couple of weeks, but my website has been under reconstruction, but is mfinleylovecoach.com.
Wonderful. And where else can people find you if they want to reach out?
So I'm also on Instagram as mfinleylovecoach, and I am on LinkedIn. I don't use that one as much, though. Instagram's kind of my biggest to go for the extra spot for that.
Wonderful. If you were to offer anyone some advice, doesn't matter, personal or work or any type of, words of wisdom, what would you share with them?
When you embrace your authentic self, you really will find the love you want. They will embrace your authentic self too, and it is worth every little bit of it coming from experience. Like, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
You're quite right. Once we learn to love ourselves, then we project that out into the world, and we will attract the people that are fit for us and that aren't going to, be hurtful or because hurt people attract hurt people, I think. And if you can find it in yourself to be loving and generous and kind, then you will find that person as well.
Absolutely. I love my go-to saying is, you get yourself to a higher frequency, you're going to attract a higher frequency.
Absolutely. You're very right there. Melissa, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me today, and good luck with the program.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me.
Bye-bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Healing Through Love. You can get further resources, see the show notes, or simply reach out to us via our website at htlaustralia.org. Thanks so much for joining us, and we look forward to your company next time on the Healing Through Love podcast.